else go first. So Evan, why don't you start us off?
Yeah, coach, coming off of TWU, second best showing of the season. What did that mean for your team to have a good week, placing third on Saturday and then turn around and have the second best showing of the season on Monday?
Yeah. Well, I think it's exactly what the team needed. We just sort of needed to reset our normal, and go out and just be us. And for them to be able to do that on a double weekend and be better day two than they were day one is not only great for this point in the season, but it's a great preparation for our regionals format as well. So a lot of positives. Just really, really proud of the team, the way they handled that situation. Not only that, but they looked really strong on day two with only having one day off in between, which is hard to do. So I'm really proud of that. And it's really, I think, a confidence booster, just kind of resetting our normal going into the next few meets left of regular season.
And Haley Klein, I know I talked about her last week and asked you that, but again, another really solid showing on Monday. What does she continue to show week in and week out to you?
She's just getting more and more confident. I mean, obviously, she's been in on vault the last few meets and really starting to figure out how to dial in her landing. She's so powerful. So really kind of honing in on those landing deductions has been the goal there. She's just been so steady on floor so far this season, but to bring her in on beam and for her to have that important performance, especially after a fall on Monday, was a huge deal. It shows just how solid and reliable she is, and just really what she's capable of. We've known that she's such a beamer. There were a few like technique things that we needed to figure out about her dismount before we could confidently put her in the lineup, but she's really worked hard and earned that spot. And so she really made a good argument for herself to be in that beam lineup in the future.
And coming off of a couple of weeks on the road, what's the excitement of the team getting back home to Barnhill and competing at your home arena?
Yeah, well, we're really happy to be home. I mean, 4 meets in a row on the road is tough. We learned a lot along the way. We're just excited to be back with our fans and a home crowd in Barnhill. It's our last meet in Barnhill for the season before we move over to Bud. So we're excited to be back in there. We're trending towards a sellout again. So just encouraging people to get their tickets while they're still available. But we can't wait to be back in there with our fans.
That's all I got for now. Thanks, coach.
Meredith, do you guys have anything?
Yeah, hey coach. I know Evan talked about Haley, but just kind of going off of that, I feel like each week we talk about how much these freshmen have contributed to the team. Just what do you see from them as a whole now, kind of getting towards the end of the season, just how much they've grown to this point?
Yeah. Well, they're so hungry. I mean, they really want to compete. They want to contribute. They're starting to kind of step into pieces of the puzzle that we really envisioned for them. But maybe it took them a few weeks to figure it out or figure out what that pressure is going to feel like. I'm thinking about Haley and Priscilla, but also Dakota as well with her vault. We recruited her to do the 1.5 on vault. And she's really figuring it out. And part of it was just being able to warm up well and train well. And, she was on fire in the warm up at TWU. She almost stuck a vault and hit really 3 really great ones. So we put her in and she did an awesome job. So just, they're working really hard. They want to compete, they want to contribute, and they want to continue pushing this program, which is so exciting. I mean, to feel that from freshmen is really promising. And our lineups are young, but they're very fierce and we're capable of big things here.
And then again, back at home this week after, being on the road for so long and going up against Kentucky, just what do you need to see from your squad in this meet and hope to see from them as, you're back at home and going up against a talented Kentucky team?
Yeah, I mean, Kentucky's a great team. They're obviously having a great season and coming off of, a national championship qualification last year. The way our sport works, I know it's difficult for a lot of fans to understand, but obviously it's fun to win. That's always our goal, is to win the meet. But ultimately right now, as we switch into, our scoring, switching to NQS, our goal is to continue chasing our normal, and our normal meaning what we do in practice every day. And so that's really what the team is focused on, whether that comes out with a win or not, to really continue pushing that NQS. Right now we're counting our score from Florida. And so being able to replace that score with a 197 plus is our goal. And when we are on an average day, we can hit 197. And so obviously pushing that mid 197 is what we're capable of, I think, when we're really on fire on all 4 events. So we're pushing for that normal. That's what we're chasing, not necessarily the win or a certain score. It's just chasing what we do every day in practice so that we can rely on that come postseason.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Jordyn, I have a couple. So, just talk about the schedule a little bit. There's no really weeks off when we're competing in the SEC. Then your non-conference opponents are 1 and 2 in the country. And that's not the first time we'll see Oklahoma even this season. So how do you approach that week to week when you know you're going to get somebody's best every time?
Yeah, well, it keeps us on our toes. Obviously, there are no down weeks. I think it's really good for the team. I think being able to consistently go out and push your potential every week is something that you want your team to be able to feel. You don't want them to go into a meet going, oh, this is an easy opponent and let their guard down. So I love that for us. I think being in this conference is, there's such a benefit in the strength of our schedule, and obviously bringing Oklahoma to town and seeing them at Metroplex. What a great opportunity for us to compete against a great team like that. It continues to challenge us and help us get better. So I love it. I think it's just a reflection of what our postseason is going to feel like. I mean, no regional is an easy regional, and we need to be able to feel that competitiveness no matter the competition.
You talked about this a little bit, but when we're to the point where you're just, wanting those good scores and not maybe focused on the wins and losses as much, how do you get the team focused on that and really just, I guess, beating ourselves every week rather than looking at maybe what the wins and losses are like in any other sport? How do you keep that mindset there and keep everybody focused on getting better as a team week to week?
Yeah. Well, the big, one theme we've really been focused on is just, they've done the training, they're prepared physically, and most of the challenges we approach now are mental challenges of going into a meet and being able to compete the way you practice. And so a lot of that is in the gym is making practice feel like a competition so that you're used to that feeling and you have that ability to build up a moment a little bit more in practice. But then when you're in the meet, making the meet feel more like practice. So kind of playing that mental game with yourself is what we're really dialed in on with the team. So for example, like today on beam, Lauren's like, okay, give me a scenario, give me a meet scenario that I might be in, add a little bit of extra pressure on me, and then I want to see how I can respond in a routine. And so we're playing little mental games like that, which is really fun. And then when we're in a meet, just really not focusing on the scores because that's out of our control. The only thing that we can control is doing our normal, which is what we do in practice. That's really what we're focused on right now, more so than any particular team. The great thing about our sport is that we don't have to adjust what we do based on the team we're competing against. We don't watch their film. We don't really change the plan. We just put our best lineups out that we think we're going to be successful with that week.
Evan, we'll come back to you.
Yeah, sorry, let me just unmute myself really quickly. Coach, out of curiosity, this whole season you've been having Callie Swain lead off on the bars. On Monday, I don't believe she was in the lineup. What went into that decision?
She didn't have a great warm up. She missed a couple of releases in the warm up and just seemed a little bit off. And so we, Serena had a great warm up. We decided to make the change, and it's hard to make those decisions. Callie does such a great job leading off for us, and we 100% trust her. But she came back in the gym today and responded really well. And she understands that as coaches we have to go with who we feel like is the best person for that job on that day. And so one of the things that gives us that trust is the warm up. So that's what happened on Monday.
Cool. Thanks, Coach. That's all.
Anything else for Coach Wieber? All right.